Here in the European Parliament, Christians for Europe are in conference and they're discussing a wide variety of issues. Amongst the topics for debate are Christianity and its support for the Jewish state, reporting Israel, is it under-reported, and the recent violence in Gaza. Why do Christians support the Jewish state?
Well, I believe looking at European history, the answer should be obvious. We have so many times failed the Jewish people, and we believe that this is the time to finally get it right and to stand in solidarity with the Jewish people and today also with the State of Israel. I don't feel that there should be any particular esoteric or theological question beyond that. But I think as Christians in particular, we're very grateful for what the Jews have brought to Europe, that we can call our culture today a Judeo-Christian civilization. So I think it should be obvious for everyone that we ought to stick together, we ought to support the Jewish people.
Regarding European attitudes towards Israel, do you see a declining support for Israel and a growing animosity even?
You have to look at the big picture. Looking at 2012, I would not say that this has been a dramatic year. Looking perhaps a little bit longer into time, say starting from early 2000, the Second Intifada, my answer would be yes. I believe there is an uprise of anti-Zionism, anti-Israelism, also anti-Semitism. Of course, we need to distinguish between the three different categories, but I believe on all fronts there has been an increase, sadly.
And what's your reaction to Israel's Operation Pillar of Defense?
Well, of course, this has just been happening within the last 24 hours, more or less, but obvious, I mean, we would agree with the statements coming out of Washington, and I think the statements hopefully also coming out from this parliament that we support Israel. They have the same right to protect their civilians as any other country in the world. And I think, as Ambassador Proso said very eloquently at the UN, that we should not and we cannot play Russian roulette with the lives of our citizens.
This conference, organised by the European Coalition for Israel, is obviously of great interest and reassurance to the European Jewish community. Can I ask you for the European Jewish Parliament's reaction to Israel's Operation Pillar of Defense?
Well, we are fully supportive of Israel, of the right of Israel to defend its citizens. And actually, it's not even, we are not even speaking about a right, we are speaking about a duty. It's a duty for the Israeli government, like for each country, to protect its own citizens. Those last 7 years since Hamas took power in Gaza, there were more than 800 missiles and rockets launched on Israel, on the Israeli cities. It means 3 or 4 rockets, an average of 3 or 4 missiles and rockets a day. Just imagine one thing, in Berlin, in Paris, in London, in other cities, that the population has to suffer the launch of 3 or 4 missiles and rockets daily.
And do you think Israel's getting a fair hearing in the international media?
Not at all. Not at all. Look what's going on now. As I told you before, 8,000 rockets and missiles were launched those last 7 years. Who spoke about this? You hear about that when Israel is reacting. So, you know, it's very a one-way coverage, and that's not fair, and we would like to highlight this bias and to say to the international community that the Israeli population deserves security, and that we need to take care. We have a responsibility here in Europe. You know, Israel is a Western-minded country in the middle of a very tough neighborhood. So today, when Hamas, when Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations are attacking Israel, they are attacking us. They are attacking us, European values, Western values.
And is this a struggle about territory or ideology?
We are speaking about ideology. And what is the ideology? Today, Hamas and Hezbollah, those organizations, are the ideologic heirs of the Third Reich. We are speaking about a new form of Nazism, And when I speak about this, because it's very tough wording, look, when the Hezbollah is demonstrating in the street of Beirut, they are making the Nazi salute. Read the chart of Hamas, Article 32, I think. They are speaking and explaining the existence of Israel based on the protocol of Elder Zion. So I think that, we say in English that when it looks like a duck, when it walks like a duck, and when it quacks like a duck, so it's probably a duck. I will say that when it looks like a Nazi, when it speaks like a Nazi, and when it quacks like a Nazi, then it's probably a Nazi.
One of the keynote speakers at the conference today was Ambassador David Walzer, who is the Israeli permanent representative to the EU. I asked him what was the message he wanted to get over to the conference.
We are in Europe. Israeli and European relations are crucial for Israel. They are very important for Europe. We are striving to enhance them, to deepen them, to broaden them. We would like Europe to see Israel as a major partner for Europe. We see ourselves as being anchored in Europe and its societies, and we would like very much this continuation to go on, the continuation of those excellent relations. We are here also today to ask for Europe's support for Israel's strive to achieve its very long wish and attempt to get security and good relations with our neighboring states, with our neighbors in general. This is today not so easy. We see what's going on in Gaza. We see what the Palestinians are aiming at the United Nations. We are here to seek Europe's support in preventing those unilateral aggressive measures.
It's at times like this that Israel needs its friends, and they've come today from as far as Singapore and New Zealand to show a common purpose and a support for universal values. Colin Stevens for JN1 at the European Parliament in Brussels.